Happy almost New Year, everyone. Before the year ends, we still have some big astrology. We've got Jupiter returning to Pisces, woohoo, question mark. And we also have Mercury getting in on the action with Venus retrogrades conjunction to Pluto. I also have some announcements, so let's get into it. Hey everyone, this is Catherine Urban, and we have made it to the end of 2021. Thank you so much for joining me for your astrology shots of the day. It's been an amazing year, and I really appreciate you helping me to grow this channel, which I relaunched earlier this year. So if you can believe it, I started posting probably cringy astrology videos in 2010 when I was a baby astrologer. And I went in and out of posting videos regularly, mostly because I didn't have the support and I had like a whole other full-time job. I just wanted to share before I get into the astrology of the final week of 2021 that this whole production is a family production. My husband, Eli, he's the one who helps me with the lighting, helps me with the microphone, helps me get the video set up. And Eli is just as much a part of these astrology shots as I am. Well, maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but he is a huge part for how these videos are possible. So I just want to thank you all so much for being here. And Eli and I dreamed up this concept of the astrology shot the last time Mercury was in Aquarius. So Mercury's going to be in Aquarius here again pretty soon, and that's going to be our brainstorming time. So you're going to see more from Eli. You're going to see this channel start to evolve, and we got some ideas that we're already working with. So thanks for being here with us. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool. And I am going to do a special video for you all on the angles of the chart, which I am referring to as the cross of incarnation. So help me get to 1,000 and you will get that video, hopefully sometime in the early new year of 2022. And yeah, also, if you would like to support the creation of more astrology shot videos, there are a couple ways that you can do that. You can either book a reading with me, and this would also support my production team, if you know what I mean. You can book a reading with me. I offer them year round. I periodically offer specials, particularly the eclipse reading specials, which you may have heard about in previous videos that I mentioned. You can also study with me. I have courses that I offer year round. The next one that I'm offering is a course on secondary progressions, which we'll talk about how to work and integrate with that technique into your practice. And then I will soon be offering a foundations course in the spring. So if you'd like to learn astrology, or if you would just like to fill some pretty big holes in your foundational understanding, it's a great course to jump into. It is very detailed. And the other way that you can support the creation of these videos is you can become a patron. I do have just like a tip jar that you can contribute to if you like, or you can get a new moon video where I do your sun moon, where I do like a specific forecast for each zodiac sign. So you can tune in for your sun sign as well as your rising sign. And I have other tiers that you can take a look at as well if you want to study with me. One of my favorites is Cauldron. It's a chart synthesis. It's a monthly chart synthesis group where those who have either studied with me or have a foundational understanding of astrology, we get together each month and we jam out on astrology, which is really awesome. The other way that you can support this channel is just by liking and subscribing and sharing the content, helping me to get it out there. Because the more support I have, the more I can continue to invest my time and energy here, because at this point, I'm not getting paid for these videos. So the idea is that, this is how I get my name out there. So if you feel so inclined to help, those are all the ways that you can support me as a creator and as an astrologer. So with that, let's get into the final astrology of 2021. So I'm going to talk about the small thing first, the smaller thing that's happening. So firstly, what we have is we have Mercury getting in on the action. So we've got Mercury aligning with Venus in a conjunction in Capricorn, and Venus will then align with Pluto. So as we know, we have this ongoing Venus-Pluto, Venus retrograde story in Capricorn unfolding. Mercury is going to embellish that. Mercury is going to add emphasis to this Venus retrograde story. Mercury is going to say, hey, let's talk about it. Or there could be a letter, there could be a text, an email, a phone call, some form of communication that can help bring Venus-Pluto out from the caverns of contemplation and into the open so we can have more dialogue. Let's not forget that Mercury is an alchemist. So by talking about it, we can see things from alternate perspectives. By journaling about it, it can help kind of add more details and add more perspective to the story. So Mercury will help add a whole other angle of perception and perhaps give us some more information on the story. Another reason we want to watch Mercury here is that next year, Mercury will be having a retrograde in this portion of the zodiac, stationing direct at this very same degree, where Venus and Pluto are experiencing their little dance, and Venus has stationed retrograde. So it'll be at this point that Mercury stations direct in a conjunction with Pluto next year. So we really want to pay attention to what emerges for us, what kind of messages we get, the kind of dialogue, the kind of communication that is unfolding, very much relative to this Plutonian catalytic story that's happening. Pluto's all about shadow work. Pluto's all about bringing things out in the open. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes the Pluto stuff is kind of painful, kind of ouchy, but as I'd say to my toddler. But it can also be profoundly healing. I, for one, have experienced something really profound, something really full circle, by talking about something very Plutonian with someone I love very much. And so I'm interested to see how this will continue to unfold, and for you too. So pay attention to the messages. And even though the Pluto stuff, the Venus things that are close to our heart, where we're having the changes of heart, where we're thinking about the things that matter most to us, and go back and watch those other videos I made. This is all about creating deeper intimacy and healing in our relationships. So Mercury is going to help us cross the river Styx. Mercury is going to help us get to that other side, even though we still have a long way to go in this retrograde. So pay attention to the messages and look for the portals of communication that are presenting themselves, because we want to take it. Astrology, we got to participate, or not. It's really up to us. But that's how you get the most out of it. The other big thing that is happening before the year ends, and that Mercury-Pluto stuff is going to be on the 29th and the 30th, by the way. The other big news that we have is Jupiter is re-entering Pisces. This is a big deal. Astrologers have been very excited about Jupiter and Pisces. Why? Because Jupiter's at home in Pisces. That means that we have greater access to things like hope, faith. I did a whole video on Jupiter and Pisces, so I would encourage you to watch that for the full picture. And I don't take back my word on anything I said in that video, but I do have some updates for you on what I think about Jupiter and Pisces. And I will say also, I have an article on my website, catherineurban.com. That's where you can also book your reading with me, where I go into the details of Jupiter's journey through Pisces. This is a 3-chapter story. We already had the first chapter back in July. It was May through July of 2021, where astrologers predicted the lifting of the mask mandate, and it happened to the day that Jupiter entered Pisces, as well as the theme of opening, and everything opened back up. But because Jupiter was ruling the south node of Sagittarius, which, the south node is about loss, it's about decrease. So we just didn't see that being the most foreboding in terms of all the things that Jupiter and Pisces would normally promise. looking back on that, it was Jupiter going back into Aquarius where things kind of closed back up because Delta started running rampant. So here we are, Christmas, holiday season, everything is shutting down. Where I live in Cleveland, Ohio, we have one of the highest hospitalization rates with COVID right now. It's terrible. Every single one of my holiday plans has been canceled due to every single different person in my various circles. Divorced parents here, friends there, divorced parents there, husband's family. Every single plan canceled because of COVID. So that doesn't necessarily make me feel hopeful or optimistic. Things that we would normally associate with Jupiter, especially being in its home sign of Pisces. On my website, I've detailed, this beautiful alignment that we see coming up in April 12th. We see Jupiter's conjunction with Neptune. And we have always seen this as like, wow, what a beautiful alignment. Seems very magical, heart-opening, creating possibilities. And this level of openness that we have with Jupiter and Pisces, especially once it reaches Neptune here in April, I don't know that it's the best thing, because those two planets together are all about opening. And I see people doing that, right? I see people out there living their best life, traveling, raising their vibration. And I'm all for people raising their vibration, by the way. But anyways, then I see people who are being more careful, doing the more Saturn and Aquarius thing. So what we have is we have Jupiter and Pisces in its rulership answering to no one above it, doing its own thing, answering to itself. Then we have Saturn and Aquarius saying boundaries, social distancing, science. This is what science says. This is how virology works. And Saturn is technically a little bit stronger because it has diurnal triplicity, I want to say. I don't have my thing quite in front of me. And yeah, that's what it is. So Saturn is a little bit stronger. So we still have to adhere to Saturn. So we can be doing all the Jupiter stuff, Jupiter and Pisces, which is aligning to live a more purposeful life, trying to find deeper soulful connection in our life, looking to live a life with deeper meaning, having more faith, more of a spiritual connection. I think it's amazing for creativity. I think it's amazing for opening our heart, for connecting to something bigger than us. It's amazing for all those things. But look, we still have Saturn in Aquarius too. And so I see Jupiter and Pisces. Pisces is a dual sign. It's a double-bodied sign. So, you have one fish trying to swim up and you've got the other fish trying to swim down. And so I do see this split. I do see this divide that's happening across the Jupiter and Pisces axis, where we have some people out there living their best life, expansion, discovery, travel, belief. And then simultaneously, we see people saying, I really hope that 2022 is our year. I really hope that, we're canceling these plans, and I really am keeping the hope alive that the next time we connect, everything's going to be okay. And it's important to keep the hope alive, but I will say that I feel and have felt the whole time that Saturn in Aquarius has the final say. And I don't know when exactly this whole saga will end, but I do know that Saturn will continue to be in Aquarius until March of 2023, and I do not see this issue going away until then, at a minimum. It may continue past that. We'll see. A lot can happen in a year, as we know. But I do see this dichotomy of how Jupiter and Pisces is manifesting. I see people creating the life of their dreams. I also see it being a time, especially when Jupiter reaches that Neptune, of profound disappointment, profound disillusionment, profound sense of overwhelm. And while I think that in our personal lives, and we could talk about this and how this is showing up in your chart to offer you expansion and blessings and hope and dreams and creativity and connection, I think it can do all those wonderful things for us. But I also think that when it comes to the collective and the need to contain something, that this aspect does not support the containment of a virus that continues to mutate. So, you know, I'm like in Jupiter and Aries, being constructive, personal accountability, taking action. Jupiter in Pisces still feels a lot of thoughts and prayers to me. And I'm sorry that I don't have a more positive message. You can probably find that from plenty of other YouTube astrology channels of people talking about the hope and positivity and that Jupiter in Pisces can have. But I think that we forget that Pisces is also a very kind of moody sign. And I think that the hope and positivity is what comes after the letdown, or it pairs nicely with it. I know so many Pisces people who will be like in a place of being upset about something, but making jokes about it. And I think that Jupiter in Pisces certainly offers the silver lining. It has us seek the opportunities. It has us continuing to be hopeful, to keep the faith alive. It's going to help us to do that. But I can't sit here and tell you that it's going to do all these amazing things only, especially with what I'm experiencing right now, personally, and seeing unfold in the world. So, what I would encourage you to do is check out my original Jupiter and Pisces video. Check out the article on my website, because I detail all the future alignments of Jupiter and Pisces with Neptune, with Venus, everything else. We'll eventually get into that here as the year progresses into the spring. But for now, that is what I will leave you with. Stay safe. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope to see you again next year. If you like this video, if you like the content I create, I would love to hear from you in the comments. I always love reading the comments. And yes, like I said, stay safe, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine. You can also study with me. I've got an upcoming course on secondary progressions, so head to my website and check it out.